Good morning, everybody. This time we appear to be in Cyprus, and this edition will be in English as we meet with Stella, a corporate lawyer in Cyprus. We work together for 15 years.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
More or less?
More or less, yeah.
Stella is very professional lawyer from the persons I met in Cyprus, and whenever we work together, I know that everything is properly established and taken care of for our clients here in Cyprus. And I would like to talk about how we can use Cyprus nowadays after all these changes in Europe and in Poland. You may try to use this place to build a business in this beautiful environment. Stella, please tell us first what you are doing.
Yeah,
clients arriving to Cyprus. Do you work for Polish clients?
First of all, thank you for this opportunity. It's a pleasure to hold this talk with you. Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to see you. Ever since we first met, I've been working with Polish clients for the last over 15 years, and in many occasions we have worked together, and this is always something that is always down to you as well. It's down to the both of us, and thank you so much for the opportunity. Cyprus still remains, I believe, a good option for a Polish investor, but for different reasons than the ones that applied when we first started working together. At the beginning there were maybe a lot more tax incentives in order to choose Cyprus over other jurisdictions in Europe. But as the tax system in Cyprus and as the tax awareness in Europe evolved in the last 10 years, Cyprus offers a lot more to the informed Polish investor. Let us not forget that Poland is one of the biggest business centers in Europe. It attracts a lot of businesses from around the world. So it's not just the Polish businesses that are growing, but a lot of US, as far as I know, and a lot of other investors from even Asia are choosing Poland in order to base their business.
This is what I noticed as well, but it's good to know that it is also noticed here.
It is, of course. And the Polish human infrastructure, the level of education and abilities, and we see that
and ethic of work. I remember that whenever I was working with any other jurisdiction, we had always the problem that we are the last one leaving the office.
Yes.
Ireland is not working already. UK is not working, even if they are 1 hour after. In Cyprus, you are still working, but you have a break.
We have the siesta, right? Yes. It's customary for a lot of our firms to have a siesta between 1 to 3. But yeah, we were talking about it last night, that the work ethos of the Polish professionals is really something to admire. And you asked me before about, why would Polish come to Cyprus? Why would they work in Cyprus? First of all, we really need these kind of examples as a means to elevating the way that we work, because it is always nice to be around professionals that advance the level of expertise that you're offering. If we are going to go down to more specific sectors, then maybe let's look at the digitalization of a lot of our authorities here in Cyprus, starting from the registrar of companies, which I know, it's always a topic of conversation. How soon can I have the certificates issued? How soon can I have them certified? It may seem very, something mundane and simple, but you and I both know that all authorities around, these two jurisdictions, they need documents legalized in a specific way. The fact that we now are able to request documents to effect changes to a company online means that you can get the results back in 1 or 2 business days at the most. Legalization, another day at the most. So within 2-3 days, you have a certificate that would probably take a week, even more before.
I have to tell you that what I find very convenient right now is that I can check immediately if there is a director or the person involved in corporate matters here in Cyprus. I can immediately check online where they are involved in other businesses, and I have all the information available online.
Yeah, it is. And it's actually, it's a matter of fact that our current registrar of companies, she's a lovely lady, but also very informed lady who worked away from the department, very, very solutions driven, dedicated in ensuring that the interests of all parties involved in a transaction are looked after, and that we take these registers seriously.
What businesses should arrive here? What industries you are friendly to?
Any businesses in the services sector, telecommunications, software, IT.
Why? We know Cyprus from holding perspective.
Exactly.
Whenever I remember Cyprus's work, it's still good for holding, but why services?
We've seen some of the largest companies setting up offices here in Cyprus and relocating their personnel during the pandemic. And that happened because of the pandemic mostly. But at the same time, it was also possible.
But the cost of life are quite high
because
here in Cyprus.
It isn't low, is it? It's not low. It is still lower than other jurisdictions like Luxembourg, I would say even Malta. I'm not even going to, talk about our friendly Netherlands competitors, where, all these jurisdictions clearly offer an excellent business model as well and services. No one is questioning that. But it still is, it is a matter of fact that the cost of life in Cyprus is much lower than these jurisdictions. I wouldn't say it's lower than Poland, probably, because Poland is a much larger market. So it can afford to keep prices at reasonable levels. But let's think about France, for example. So cost of life affords a very reasonable substance solution to those who want to set up business in Cyprus, relocate personnel, have them employed, etc. Employment laws. We had a case of a large corporation relocating their personnel and trying to, getting their visas in place. And the personnel was originated from various jurisdictions, third country nationals and EUs. We followed a very similar procedure for all, and we've managed to get working visas within, a couple of months. We've made sure that these people legally entered the Republic, especially I'm talking about the third country nationals. Everything ran very, very smoothly so that the people could work on what actually matters, making money.
I remember we had a situation when we wanted to transfer Belarusian people to Cyprus, and it was amazing how quickly and smoothly it was possible. But let's switch to the business side.
Yeah.
Why services?
We don't have a heavy industry here, right? So then factories and manual labor, relocating people for those kind of services we wouldn't have the proper infrastructure yet. Services is easier. People can stay in a lovely place like this, overlooking the beach, and still be committed to their day-to-day work, even though their headquarters may be either in Poland or even in more, remote places like Iceland or Finland, or depending where the technology needs to be brewing. We have amazing, and it's really a sector that's growing, IT professionals. I have to say that Cypriots are really switching from the usual, I'm going to study law and accounting, to, because everyone's a lawyer or an accountant here. So they're switching to technology sectors, and we're getting some amazing startups that are created here in Cyprus, and they get funding from Y Combinator, for example, is just one of the examples that comes to mind now. So they get funding from serious businesses abroad.
If Polish businessman is coming to Cyprus with his idea to develop new technology business, can he get funding here?
There are, yes, Cyprus Seeds is one of the organizations that promotes funding to Cypriot companies. They would need to obviously set up a Cypriot company, employ Cypriot IT. But yes, it's possible.
To employ Cyprus.
Polish individual doesn't have to because they're EU.
Okay.
But a third country national that wants to set up.
Let's talk about Polish.
Okay, so they don't have to employ Cypriot personnel, but at the same time, when you're applying to a Cypriot venture capitalists, then I think it helps when you show that what you're about to develop is going to help the country. It's going to help the technology within the country.
You can help the technology worldwide, but you should also engage somehow in local economy.
Yes, and we do that. I mean, we do have clients in this sector, and we do work with organizations like this, especially at the early stages of getting funding and navigating through the various authorities and also the various private equity firms, because there's the Cypriot Angel Investors Association. So Cyprus is a small place. It really helps when you know someone that has the contacts that, can bring business people together. And we do that a lot. And yes, the infrastructure exists and it's growing.
When we talk right now, I can see Cyprus in a quite different colors.
Different light. Yeah, I would
different
hope so.
light than I did before. It's good we met.
I thank you. Yes, I think so too. I think so too.
Any other industries we can bring here?
Yeah, I know that it might sound a little bit, off market because we usually talk about very basic corporate issues. But the film industry, that Poland has a very growing film industry. It does.
I know. I know. I even know that there is someone here in Cyprus from Poland.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. So Cyprus has, it currently offers a lot of incentives for production companies to set up their business, to set up their productions here in Cyprus and take advantage of the landscape and, use it as a filming base.
Especially if the cost of flights are not
I was going to say.
I've got several connections during the day right now to Cyprus.
Yeah.
From various places in Poland.
Yes, okay. And again, I really like and I really enjoy Polish productions, I have to tell you. I think the quality is amazing. I would say the production in general, because I'm not an expert, but the cameras, the way a story is being told. And we follow this mostly through Netflix, right? But we follow this, even though it's in Polish, we choose to listen to the Polish language as opposed to, switching it to another language, which is amazing. We follow subtitles. And then, it's another way of cultural exchange also. A lot of things are becoming available to us that, we weren't used to before. We were mostly exposed to Spanish films, Latin American films, or UK or US. Suddenly there's a new industry in front of us. And
there is one thing I think you would not like to follow.
Tell me.
Wintertime.
Probably not. With those low temperatures. As you know me, I probably wouldn't be able to survive much of that cold. But it is another reason, you're very right, it is another reason for taking advantage. And if you're a production company, it makes sense to use the time around the clock and bring your productions here. There are tax incentives, there are location incentives, there's human infrastructure. So there are a lot of reasons why they would choose Cyprus for that.
If we come to here and then we decide to establish company here, I don't know whether you can reply this question, but I would like to talk about the cost. What are the annual costs someone should consider when he wants to establish here?
Let's start with setting up the company, right? So we know that there's about, it costs about 750 euros, something like that, to directly pay to the registrar of companies in order to create the company. So those are out-of-pocket expenses, which includes some stamps, etc. So we have the incorporation fees for the company. We then have the fees paid to providers that offer registered office services or secretary services. And what is important to note is that these services are now regulated. Not anyone can offer these services without having a license.
Yeah, that has also changed.
It has also changed since, in the past, we do find our regulating supervisory authorities, Cyprus Securities and Exchange Commission, Cyprus Bar Association, and the Association of Accountants. They're very reasonable on the one hand, but cautious and prudent on the other. They want to make sure, again, that the service is regulated. So we have the fees to these providers. We have accounting and audit preparation fees because there's a requirement that a Cyprus company prepares audited financial statements every year, which are then submitted within 18 months after they're prepared to the registrar of companies within the scope of transparency. So you come here, you create a company, and then there's a level of accountability and transparency which makes sure that everything is covered.
But if you want to set up the budget, of course, I'm not talking about employing people and setting up the business here as a space and the environment, just the legal side. 10,000 euro, 20,000 euro per annum. What is the average?
No, definitely less than 10,000 euro to create the company. Definitely less.
Not only to
create and to maintain. Yes.
Within a year.
The only thing that and I'm not able to comment on, but I will refer only to the median of an average of a company with, let's say, an average number of transactions per year. It wouldn't exceed 5,000 euro. It shouldn't exceed 5,000 euro. And again, it's a very rough number. we know that companies will
Plus
have
accounting.
transactions.
Plus accounting.
In some cases, it could even include accounting, Anna Maria, because it really depends on what the company is doing. If it's a company that has a couple of personnel here in Cyprus, but it operates, it reaches its decisions here in Cyprus, the board of directors meet here, which means that they're not using providers, but they're coming themselves, either living. So these things bring costs down. So no, I would definitely say around 5,000, maybe even including accounting services.
From my experience, it's around 10. If you want to have some international expertise on the proper maintaining Cyprus company, considering also for instance, Polish tax and legal environment.
Which means that you have a lower base, and then you enrich it with the advisors that you've mentioned, and you're still at a competitive level.
Yes, in comparison to
other
jurisdictions, I didn't expect so that you have a lower cost of life here. I thought it's more expensive than other places, but that's a good information.
Yes. No.
Where are you based? Here in Cyprus, because right now we are in Paphos, with this beautiful view.
Yes, my God.
And the island is green right now.
It is, because it's rained a bit. It's blossoming, but today it's like completely summer, right? The temperature. So our office is based in Nicosia, at the very, very heart of Nicosia on Stasigrado Street. And my team consists of another 4 lawyers and 2 paralegals. And then, of course, we have associations with either accountants, tax advisors. So when we get asked a question that contains elements that are not strictly legal, but include corporate tax, VAT, etc. In addition to myself, I'm trained and I can reply certain requests. My team can as well to a certain level, but we can verify all questions very, very quickly because of the strong network of contacts that we hold. We're very pro-business and we're very pro-finding solutions to our clients. That, I think, may be our competitive advantage to a lot of other colleagues that are excellent in rendering their advice. We have a different background. So I've worked as an internal and external legal advisor very closely with family offices and private equity firms. And I know what it's like to be in the position of the person that decides who to engage, where to invest. And I think that affords me with a different perspective than perhaps someone who has always been engaged as an external counsel.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Dziękuję Państwu. Myślę, że to doświadczenie, o którym powiedziała Stella, jest fantastyczne i Cypr jest widoczny w nowym świetle. Zapraszam. Zobaczymy się ponownie w Polsce za tydzień.